We're back, and now we're here with Lindsay Frost-Cleary, Mozilla's boots on the ground in Chattanooga for their Gigabit Community Fund project. Let's start with an overview of the project to get everyone up to speed. Lindsay?
Awesome. I'm so glad to be here. The Gigabit Community Fund is a collaboration of Mozilla, the makers of the Firefox web browser, the National Science Foundation, and US Ignite. It funds projects that will develop applications and educational opportunities that take advantage of Chattanooga's gig network and have immediate impact on education and workforce development.
Great, and thank you so much for inviting me to your kickoff event on the top floor of the library. Tell us a little bit about that event for those who weren't there.
It was a great day. We were so pleased with it. We had a morning of panels and speakers that really gave a great national overview to what's going on with gig networks across the country. And then we spent an afternoon brainstorming and coming up with some project ideas that will impact Chattanooga. One of the real highlights of the day was that there was this great cross-section of our community there, technologists, educators, community leaders, nonprofit leaders, and we're really grateful to our partners at the library for helping to bring together that great group.
So what are the next steps in the project?
So the fund application window will actually open hopefully next week, at least by the end of this month. And that'll kick off a really exciting 5 weeks of helping to build teams, helping flesh out their project ideas, and submit applications. To help do that, we're doing some community calls, some community meetups. The next one will actually be on March 4th at the public library.
Well, nobody would call me a technologist, so could you kind of help me understand what types of projects might come out of this?
Absolutely. So a lot of it will be developing new software and new educational tools and applications, but we're also looking for great educational opportunities and curricula built on existing technology and tools. So if you're a teacher and you have this app that you use or technology that you use, if there's some great new project that you want to build with that existing tool, that's great too.
Well, I know many of our listeners are going, you know, apps, schmaps, what does that mean, right? Do you have a few like concrete examples, maybe even something conceptual of what could be done with this technology?
Absolutely. So one of the applications that was built as part of last year's Mozilla Ignite Challenge, which was the program that sort of preceded this one, was called Hyper Audio. It's a great project that allows users to remix subtitled video. So instead of dragging and editing video, you actually use the subtitled text to rearrange the video. So it's this great, neat tool, and we're looking in this round to say, okay, what could you do with that in a classroom for an educational workforce development purpose?
And this focus was on workforce development, and what a perfect marriage in Chattanooga, because we're working on that so hard. We've got some great things that have developed in Chattanooga, and then we have this Gigabit around town. So really what you're talking about is a marriage of those two concepts, right?
Absolutely. The idea really is to turn Chattanooga into this living laboratory. We have the gig, now what are we going to do with it since we have this great education and workforce development scene and all of these wonderful initiatives going on around town?
So you've got a fund of money.
Right.
People are applying to get it. So is there a specific number of awards, or?
There's not a specific number of awards. There's $150,000 allocated for Chattanooga. $75,000 will be given in the spring and another $75,000 in the summer. Project amounts will range from $5,000 to $30,000. So they're relatively small grants, but it's definitely enough to get going and to get something piloted. The timeline's pretty aggressive. We're asking people to pilot and test their ideas within a 12-week window, which is pretty intense. But we're hoping that at the end of it, we have some great projects to point to and say, okay, that's how you use the gig in workforce development education.
Well, Lindsay, we're almost out of time, but what does success look like? At the end of this project, what's a grand slam home run for this?
So I think it's that we have those projects to point to and show people some great stories to tell, but also that we've built a community of practice, a connected learning community of technologists, educators, business people, all working together to help us show how to use this great gig network that we have.
Well, we sure appreciate joining us today. It's a really great project. I encourage everybody to follow you on Twitter. Is that the best way to follow you?
Absolutely.
Excellent. Well, we'll come up next with the Inside the Airport on taking care of business.